middle school where she was having to leave a few days a week. And then by the time she ends up getting to high school, she's leaving every single day around lunch to go and practice. And so, Emma, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is just how did your teachers reconcile that? I mean, was that something that other people in the school had done? Is that sports were important enough that you could just skip out on school to do it? Or was this something unique to you? And because your mom was a teacher, she was like pulling some weight in the system and saying, no, my daughter's not going to be in class all day. Well, I mean, how did that happen that you could just leave school half day in high school?
Yeah, it was definitely not something common at all.
Okay.
I was the only person in the school that was doing that.
Wow.
And so, yes, my mom did work at my school, which I think kind of helped because I remember when I was little, we would go to like events at the school with my mom. So all these teachers that I had have known me since I was really little.
I see.
So there was kind of that relationship involved.
Okay.
And they've also kind of followed my gymnastics journey up until I got to the point of being at that high school as well.
I see.
So they kind of understood where I was at with that. And also like knowing my mom, I feel like they were able to kind of paint the picture of like where I was at and where I wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
And they were supportive of that because I was the only person kind of going through that.
Okay.
And they wanted to be a part of that support. But there were also times where like the school board was a little bit hesitant to allow me to like miss certain things. But overall, it was pretty good. I just had to be very open with when I was missing things and just like let them know in advance so that I was able to kind of make up for it.
Mm-hmm.
And online school wasn't really a thing in our high school, but I got permission to do like online classes
Okay.
for the classes that I was missing in the afternoon so that I wasn't just like missing every day of class. I was
Okay.
like kind of doing it on my own, or I would also take courses in the summer so that I was
Okay.
ahead so I wasn't missing as much in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
So I always took those core courses like in the morning, and then things that I could maybe learn on my own, I took either online or like at a different time, or I took the notes, or like they would give me the notes and then I would just like write the assignments that I had to based on the notes.
I see.
And then
Okay.
like going to office hours and like talking to them a little bit if I had questions, but then I was able to kind of do the assignments in that way, which was not common at all. But I'm really glad like my school was pretty supportive. And I remember I competed at the Youth Olympics in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a big deal for me. I ended up making history for Canada. And I came back and everyone was kind of like, the vibes were a little bit weird when I came back to school in the morning, okay?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's like an announcement that there's like an assembly in the gym, and everyone's like, "What? Like that's weird." They had like a whole surprise like assembly
Oh,
celebration for
wow.
me when I got
Oh, that's
back.
awesome.
It was so sweet, and I had no idea. They had like a whole presentation, a speech, they gave me flowers, like it was crazy. Like that was something that it's definitely uncommon, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but because of I guess my relationship with the teachers and just like all the people there, and like also part of it was because my mom and like
Mhm.
I've been in that space since I was little.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So how big was that school? Like how many students total would there have
It
been?
was not very big. So it was grades 7 to 12, and
Okay.
there was like 600 people total.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't too big because it was also like a fully French school, and
That's
that
right.
wasn't
That's
super
right.
common.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
all the students that were there were coming from like 5 different cities surrounding.
Oh, I
Like
see.
everyone would just like kind of get together there because they didn't have many of them.
Okay.
So it was like, yeah, like 4 or 5 different cities would come together to that school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's neat. And again, as we talk about, this unique influence of the French culture in your life and your mother and and that, it's just interesting to think about people sending their kids from so far away to learn in 100% French and some of the other parts of that system, I think, that are likely a part of the curriculum. I would imagine that are more from the French system comparative to other systems. I would imagine. So you talk about this first Junior Olympics that you participated in, and how did you make history for Canada? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically, the way that this competition was, there was only one athlete per country able to go per, I guess, sport.
Okay.
So first, I had to qualify and be the top Canadian gymnast in my age group to be able to qualify, which I ended up doing, which was really exciting. And then when I was competing there, I ended up getting third on vault.
Okay.
So I got bronze medal on vault, and that was the first Youth Olympic medal that a gymnast has ever gotten for Canada.
Wow.
And then ironically, the male gymnast that was there ended up getting the medal like the day after me. So he was like the second.
The second.
I got it first.
You're the first.
And then I was selected to be the flag bearer for the closing ceremonies,
Oh,
and that
wow.
was really special.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
so like, yeah, I got to walk across the stage carrying the flag with like all of the other countries that had like their ambassador doing that too, and that was really cool.
That's awesome. So that's the first bronze in a junior Olympics for a French gymnast, or French at all, or French gymnast.
Um, well, just like a Canadian gymnast overall, but ironically, the guy was French too, which is
Gotcha.
kind of
Okay,
funny.
so
So
two
it's
two
kind of
French
funny.
Canadians, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, but for Canada, of course,
yeah.
and so that's amazing. And so, what was that like for you to have made history at such a young age, and then of course come back to school, and you know, I mean, I'm imagining that you're probably like a ninth or 10th grader at the time, maybe
Yeah,
ninth grade, right?
yeah.
I mean, was it was that like kind of stressful, or was it happy, or how did you feel about that?
I I'm the kind of person that I don't really love talking about like my accomplishments like in that like make it a big deal, you know? Like I'll just be like, yeah, like when I got back to school, I just be like, yeah, I did that. Like and then I
Gotcha.
would just kind of go about my life. But when I got back, I found out that they were having watch parties at the school when I was competing. And then they have this whole celebration for me when I get back. Like I
Wow.
definitely was just like, whoa. Like that was a lot for me. I definitely was not embarrassed, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, like everyone knows about this."
Yeah.
And like I was much more of a like keep to myself, do my own thing when I was in high school, so that was very different for me, but that was pretty cool. I don't know, overall it was crazy. The whole experience was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it either.
Hmm.
And then the transition, I guess it was like a good confidence boost because then the next year I went into like my senior year of gymnastics. So like once you're a senior, you're like that Olympic level.
I see.
So that's when like I guess it helped in like the mental side of things and like the confidence side of things, like transitioning into that year. But
Right.
yeah, it was crazy. I had like so many interviews that I did,
Mhm.
like with like Canadian news networks and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
that's I guess really when like my career started to like flourish because a lot of people were like knowing who I was and
Yes.
like like the things I was doing, like and then I gained a lot more like social media followers and stuff from that. So I was just like, whoa, like a lot of people are watching what I'm doing like all the time.
Wow. And we talk about on the show you all like just when people lift off and kind of how that happens. And I think, what you're telling us is that kind of if you're at the age of, you know, 15, 16, as you get to that point, you're 8, 9 years into your career at that point in time in gymnastics. You're doing it so often, like every single day. It's just a major part of your life. You are the top athlete that goes to the junior Olympics. You do this historic thing, and then you know now the next year you start kind of in that senior level. And so this is really where it sounds like your gymnastics just absolutely lifted off, right? And so tell us a little bit about kind of that next year and what that was like to kind of get to that senior level, and then all of a sudden you're starting to train for Olympics, right?
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
That first year, I was very just like grateful, I think is the way I would put it. I was competing against Olympians for the first time,
Hmm.
like competing against the Canadian Olympians. But then when I would travel internationally as part of Team Canada, I was competing against like all different countries' Olympians as well. And I thought that was really cool. Like
Yeah.
some girls would like casually walk by and like say like hi, but like internally I was fangirling.
Hmm.
It's like, "Oh my gosh, like I watched you on TV at the Olympics. You won gold medals." Like I was just like, "Wow, I'm at their level now." But like internally I didn't feel like I was that way cuz I just like they were my idols. So
I
I guess
see.
that was like the big thing. I started competing against my idols
Hmm.
and girls that I watched growing up in the sport.
I see.
And that was like probably more like getting experience, learning how to compete on a bigger stage.
Hmm.
Like even though it was pretty similar, like mentally it was like, okay, this is legit now. Like this is like Olympics. Like prep, focus, compete. Like that's kind of what the mentality was.
I see. And tell me what it was like for you just within your gym that you were practicing in on a pretty consistent basis, and the team that you had as you started kind of getting into that Olympic preparation and everything.
Yeah, so that's it's very interesting because I don't know how aware you are of like the toxic side of gymnastics and like the kind of coaches that are like fall under that category.
Hmm.
And I feel like once I started to get to that senior level
Hmm.
at the point where I was going to like potentially compete at the Olympics, that's when that side of coaches started coming out in my club,
I see.
if that makes sense. So that was very eye-opening, and that was a lot for me to navigate because I was torn between doing what they say to do, even though it's not right to do, with the hopes of making it to the Olympics because
Mhm.
that's what I was told would happen,
Mhm.
or speaking up about it.
I see.
So I had that internal, I guess, dialogue throughout those years,
Mhm.
especially with, so this was in 2019, my first year as a senior, and then the Olympics were supposed to be in 2020.
Okay.
So I think that's where things started to kind of go down a little bit for me because I was in that kind of toxic environment
Mhm.
and I was doing everything that I was told to do, knowing that it wasn't good for my mental or physical health. But at the time, that's what I was told to do,
I see.
basically.
And as you built us up to this point, right? So
Mhm.
you're talking about how, you put all this time and effort into gymnastics and how you were receiving a lot of extra, celebration and
Mhm.
support as a result of being at this high level. And you'd just committed so much of your time and effort to it. Now here you are. This is just the next step. It's your senior level. You're starting to practice for the Olympics. How hard was it for you to come to terms with the fact that after all of this time and effort and everything else, that there's this major conflict that you have
Mhm.
internally about, gosh, I know this isn't right. This isn't right, but I
Mhm.
still have to kind of keep pursuing this thing, which is this ultimate opportunity, which is the Olympics, right? Which is doing
Yeah.
well on the biggest stage. How did you manage that conflict internally?
It was hard. Honestly, I struggled with it a lot
Hmm.
and I didn't really talk about it because I knew, or I thought that if I told people about it, they would remove me from the environment. And I felt like that's what I needed to do to make the Olympics because that's what I was being told.
Hmm.
So I just kind of kept it all to myself and I let it be, thinking that if I do what I'm told, that's going to increase my chances of making the Olympics, whether it's impacting my mental health or physical health. And that's when I started getting into like eating issues and stuff like that, just because that's what I was kind of told to do. But I just kept it into myself because I didn't want my parents or like close people to be like, okay, you need to get yourself out of this environment, because I thought that would give up my chances of making the Olympics.
Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Law of Lift on 93.7 The Ticket with Dr. Lawrence Chatters and Emma Spence, and we're getting into some really, challenging stuff here. The conflict of wanting to pursue excellence, but at the same time, having some other conflicts and things that are happening. And so we'll continue this conversation when we come back. And great conversation so far. Appreciate Emma for being here, but we'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're back here on the Law of Lift. I have Emma Spence, gymnast, in the studio today. And just a quick plug for her show that is every Thursday from 6 to 7. Thursday from 6 to 7, and it's called Flippin' with Spence.
Beyond the Routine with Spence.
Beyond the Routine. I don't know. Where did I get Flippin' with Spence?
I mean, it works.
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. But anyways, Beyond the Routine.
Sam and Sav. Flipping it with Sam and Sav. They
that's
used to
it.
have a show called that. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So it's Beyond the Routine. So
Yep.
everything beyond that component of gymnastics, including people's stories and their journeys and everything else. And we're really digging into her journey today. So she's under the microscope today.
Yes.
To a certain extent. But at the same time,
all
I mean, it's amazing, first and foremost, how open you are to talking about these things. And you're really good at radio, which I just have to tell you that,
Thank you.
you know, not everybody's good at radio because you just have to keep talking. You have to keep sharing. And some people kind of, you know, give you little bits and pieces, but you really develop things. So before the break, you know, we were talking about the unfortunate underbelly of gymnastics. And, you know, this is something I believe that most people we're not truly and openly privy to until some of the recent really negative stuff started coming out, and some of the kind of names that come to mind for me, like Larry Nasser, of course, and other folks who unfortunately would cover things up and wouldn't speak out, right? And I think people are familiar with that. And you kind of mentioned a little bit about some of the challenges that come up with things such as eating disorders and other mental health challenges that come up around some of those things. And, if you all do know on the show that, I'm a counseling psychologist. And so those are things that really are part of my training, just helping people navigate through those things and the challenges of dealing with anxiety and depression and so on and so forth, and major mental illness. But, when we look at the intersection of sport and those challenges, it's just an absolute wonder how people can navigate those significant mental challenges and still compete at the highest level. And folks, before we went to the break, we were talking about Emma getting to that senior level of gymnastics and preparing for the 2020 Olympics. And so again, you kind of heard a little bit about her journey. She's leaving school half day. She's, just pouring everything into gymnastics, has family behind her, a whole community behind her, really. A country behind her, as a matter of fact, right? A country behind her, folks that are putting their hopes and dreams on her, that, she would go to the Olympics and do something special. And so tell us just a little bit. We don't have much time on this particular, segment, but talk to us a little bit about prepping for that 2020 Olympics and how things kind of came together.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I'll get through all of it in this segment, but that 2019 year, I feel like was mostly just getting that experience competing at the senior level. I ended up being the alternate for the world championships, the senior world championships, which I didn't really expect because it was my first year. So that was really cool. I was non-traveling alternate, but I was still kind of named to that team and got to see what that was like for the first time. And then the following year, I started off pretty strong, honestly, at the beginning of 2020. I competed in Calgary for Canada, and then I went to Australia.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to Montreal for a camp. And then, I'd say I was having my best year to that date of like gymnastics. And then we landed back in Ontario from this camp in Montreal. Everyone turns on their phones off of airplane mode, and this thing called COVID-19 just happened.
Wow.
And we land, and it was all of a sudden schools are closed for the next 2 weeks. Like,
oh my goodness.
And all of that just happened. And we were all on the airplane and we're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then, you know how that goes.
Yes.
We ended up training a little bit. And then all of a sudden we weren't even allowed to do gymnastics, full lockdown, no school.
Wow.
And then the Olympics they were canceled. And that was really sad because I mean, I was in the pool of girls trying to qualify. I was having the best year I was.
Right.
And all of a sudden the Olympics were canceled. Eventually they ended up getting postponed, but for a little bit they said they're just canceled. They got postponed to 2021. I wasn't able to do gymnastics for it's probably like a good month or two just because of the lockdown restrictions. We weren't allowed.
Yeah.
And then I would say we were allowed to start practicing only if you were in the pool of athletes potentially going to qualify for the Olympics. So it was very, very strict. The restrictions were very tight. And going to kind of what I was touching on before, while there was only able to be a couple girls training and a couple coaches, I feel like that's when the mental side of things really, really went downhill for me.
I see. Just kind of more that one-on-one.
It was more one-on-one.
Yeah.
There was like four of us girls, a couple coaches, and that's when I guess that environment that I was in, there were no buffers, there weren't other coaches, there weren't other athletes, parents weren't allowed to watch, so it was literally just us every day in that gym.
I see.
And that's when I'd say things started to go downhill. But we can get into that a bit later.
Yeah. So again, we are just so incredibly humbled that you're talking us through this journey and all these different challenges that you were dealing with along your path, because again, you know, these are things that aren't often talked about. And so we appreciate your openness, but folks, we'll have even more when we come back at the top of next hour. You're listening to The Law of Lift on 93.7 The Ticket with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. And I have Emma Spenson here today, just telling us about her journey and how she took off. And so we'll have more from her when we come back after this.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to SmokingGunJerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. You're listening to the Law of Lift. It's Sunday, an inspirational day by many accounts. Lots of people go to church on Sundays and, get an opportunity to experience some spiritual stuff. And I'm just happy to be on Sunday. This is my first show on Sunday, by the way. So welcome to my first show on Sunday, Emma. Usually it was on Saturday. Okay. And, there's a different energy on Saturday, Sure. On Sunday, you're getting ready. Most people are getting ready to go back to work the next day and everything else. But we're just talking about all the work and time and effort that our guest, Emma Spence today, former Husker Gymnastics, former Team Canada, in just all around athlete. And, we haven't necessarily gotten into all the amazing things that she did while she was doing gymnastics. We haven't talked too much about that. We have talked about her being the first in Canadian history to score at the Junior Olympics, bronze, right, on vault.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. But, we'll get more into that. I mean, she said that makes her uncomfortable. But, one of the things that I have to say is just, to watch as I was your administrator the level that you are continuously competing at and just like super chill about it all. It was just always really like very interesting to me because it didn't seem like there were too many nerves or anything. You're just like going out there and doing your thing. And again, now that I better understand like how long you were doing gymnastics for, and honestly, like the fact that, and this is just an assumption of mine, but, and it may be true, it may not be true. I tried to learn a little bit about gymnastics while I was working with you all, but what I think I recognized is that as you did push yourself in the sport and you were consistently doing these things, you understood more how you could do it, and you understood that you were capable of doing it. That didn't make it any easier to do, but you had confidence in your abilities, right? And you had performed at an extremely high level. You had been on some extremely huge stages prior to even coming here to Nebraska, which I didn't really think so much about that. Like, you know, flying all the way to Australia and having like your country's weight on your shoulders, right? Like at the age of like 16, right? You know, like, so when I hear about all of that, it helps me better understand how you could manage the stress and the pressure of being in Devaney, right? Or wherever, right? But and so that was definitely one of the things that I wanted to try to accomplish for myself today, was try to understand, how do you stay so cool under pressure? But I think when the pressure is not nearly as much as like representing your country, you're representing your school, you're representing your family, you're always representing yourself. But it helps me better understand kind of how you manage through some of those things. But what you were telling me about before the break and at the, you know, the bottom of last hour was just talking a little bit about some of the challenges that you experienced along the way with coaches, with the culture. You mentioned a word that I think a lot of us understand, which is toxic, right?
Yes.
In that space. And you said, you know, one thing you don't know about is the toxic aspect of gymnastics. And so we were talking just a little bit about that, but more recently we kind of transitioned into talking about you prepping for the 2020 Olympics that would be postponed. Little thing called COVID-19, big thing called COVID-19, global pandemic comes along. They postponed the Olympics, and that was that the Tokyo Olympics?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the Olympics that get postponed, and it's 2020. You get through that year. Tell us a little bit about kind of as you start getting ready to finish up in high school and transition into college.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, and kind of wrapped up on the last one, was that things were getting really hard for me from a mental side of things towards the end of 2020. I ended up seeking help for it because I was at a point where like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And like my family didn't really either. And I was like, I think I just like need some help. And at that point, I ended up working with a psychologist. I was diagnosed with a lot of things, anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, like all the things. And I was like, oh man, that's a lot. And fortunately, I was able to be connected to the right people, the right resources, you know, did some EMDR therapy, learned about that. That was really helpful. You know, working on my nutrition, working with sports psych, different counselors, stuff like that. And just kind of helping navigate how to keep working towards this goal. Because in my head, I was like, I'm broken. I can't do this. I can't make it to the Olympics. And that started coming out in my practice, the way that I was training. I wasn't as confident. I wasn't like, there was just so many different sides of it.
Yeah.
But I had a really good support system and a really good team behind me that helped navigate that space. And I wouldn't have gone as far as I did if it weren't for the different people that helped me throughout that journey and just all the ups and downs throughout my career. So I really want to say that like being able to ask for help was like the best thing I could have done because I didn't know what to do. I was like so sad. I didn't know why. I was like, what's going on? So all of those things, that was like a big turning point for me. Was being able to get that connection and all that. And then the beginning of 2021, school still wasn't in person, my high school. And because COVID happened, I was able to do a full course load. Like originally I was trained or like doing my school in advance, but once COVID hit, I wasn't able to practice. I did like full course loads. I ended up graduating early.
Okay.
So going into this last semester of school, going into the last couple months prepping for the Olympics, I didn't have school. And due to the mental state I was in, and my mom and I were talking, she's like, it wasn't going to be good for me to just do gymnastics and just train for the Olympics.
I see.
And just sit around at home all day. So I ended up getting a job. I worked at a grocery store.
What'd you do at the grocery store?
Okay, you know how we called it like PC Express. I don't know what they call it here. When you can order your groceries.
Yes.
So I was the one that would pick the groceries.
Oh, gotcha.
And I
Okay.
love grocery shopping so
Okay.
much. Like that is one thing about me. I love grocery shopping. So it was so much fun for me. It was like a scavenger hunt around the store. You know, I had a list. I had the pictures of what I needed to buy. I just had to fill up the cart, put it in the bag, hand it to the person.
Oh, wow.
And I loved it. That was so good for me. So I would work at the grocery store in the morning and then I would practice in the afternoon. And the Olympic qualification process was really weird because it was still during COVID.
Mhm.
So the competitions were held virtually. So like through videos. So it was very interesting because obviously someone's going to compete differently at their gym versus in front of like 100,000 people.
Right.
So that was
Did that benefit
questionable.
you, or do you feel like it was a bit of a challenge?
I feel like it was fine for me.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I do better in front of a crowd sometimes. You know,
I
that
see.
extra pressure, like it really makes me like lock in knowing that a lot of people are watching.
Yeah.
But then in some cases, there were athletes that do much better.
I
Like people
see.
that weren't always like the best competitors, but were doing like a lot better because they were in their gym.
I see.
So that was interesting because that's how they selected the Olympic team.
Okay.
I ended up being a non-traveling alternate for the Olympics, and honestly, I was really grateful to be in that spot. It was hard,
Mhm.
knowing that like I was very close, and like there were a lot of different people that I was training with that were kind of on that journey with me,
Mhm.
and I had a couple alternates that were also named to the team. So we were kind of like there was 4 of us. We were like in our own little group. We're in this together. It's like it's a really hard position to be in because it's like you're on the team but you're not.
Yeah.
We were at all the camps. They were finally in person. So we would go to the camps. We'd have to show our routines. We'd have to compete.
Mhm.
But we weren't traveling. So that when the team left to go to Tokyo, we stayed behind.
I see.
And
Okay.
that part was a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was grateful for it. I was grateful for the experience. You know, kind of going back, there were some things I guess that I feel like the federation could have done better to make us feel like we were still part of the team and included.
Mhm.
Like one of the days we were packaging up the girls like gift bags that were going to the Olympics. So the alternates were putting together the gift bags to give to them to go. And I was like, hey, that was really hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like kind of created that divide.
Mhm.
But
I can kind of relate because of the collegiate side where
yes.
there's girls that are on the team but they don't travel. That would be like them packing the bags in the
Yes.
bus and then standing along and saying bye,
And like
right?
waving off.
Yeah. And when we
Yeah.
have student managers to do that, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's tough.
And I guess we didn't have student managers to do it, but I don't know, putting the alternates in that position was
Yeah,
tough.
that's interesting.
So there were some of those things that
Yeah.
made it a little bit more difficult, but you know, I was going to Nebraska in a couple months. So I was like, you know what? Like I have things to look forward to.
Absolutely.
But I would say that due to that, I was at a point where I didn't necessarily love gymnastics.
I
And
see.
I was very open with the coaches about that. I
Mhm.
remember I had a Zoom call with Heather and Brian, and I told them, I was like, just so you know, like, I don't really love gymnastics right now.
Mhm.
I want to get to a point where I do. And I've heard that NCAA gymnastics is something that, like, when you are from elite, you go into that space. That's when you really find your love for the sport again.
I
But
see.
I was very upfront and honest with them at the very beginning because I didn't want them. I don't know. I just wanted to have that transparency, and I didn't know how NCAA worked.
Right.
Like I wanted to have like a good, I guess, foundation coming into it.
Yeah.
And because of that, when I first came in, I was given all the resources that I needed from the start. So I was connected to sports psych immediately, the
Mhm.
nutrition staff immediately, and all those like external pieces that I needed to kind of stay good, healthy,
Yeah.
sane.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
a lot of different ways. but,
Right.
um,
Physical, mental,
yeah.
right? Like all that. Yeah.
just like had that foundation like prepared for when I came in was also really huge.
That's amazing. And this is something else that I've heard from you, that I've heard from another student athlete that I had the chance to interview about Nebraska. And she's another former student athlete that was elite, and just having all the support services made it possible. And as I was trying to really put all the pieces together and kind of like create this equation for how do you come into this space with this challenge that you're kind of not really enjoying it as much anymore. You're coming from the elite side back to NCAA, if you want to look at it that way. How do you excel, right? And it's like you said, your network and your support was really top notch, right? You had so many different pieces that came together to help lift you up. And the other thing that you talked about that I want to really stress to our listeners is that even though you were and are an elite athlete, you were willing to open up and say, I need help, right? And the fact that, it's interesting because I think that can kind of go a couple of different ways. I think if for athletes, sometimes they feel like if they do speak up and say that they have a challenge, like you were talking about earlier, that somebody's going to say, okay, well, we're just going to push you aside and find the next person that wants to deal with all this stuff who's not going to say anything about it, right?
Yeah.
But then for you, who of course is coming into this situation, elite, alternate to the Canadian Olympic team, right? You're open enough to say, these are the things that I'm dealing with. And I really want to let you know so you can organize the support for me right away. And so I think that's important for you all, like listening, that if you are an athlete and you do want to be successful, and you really have confidence in your abilities and you recognize that the challenges that you're experiencing are causing some issues with your abilities, saying that you need the help is actually a strength, right? Because then they can kind of start removing some of those barriers, or at least keep in mind that this is how you're coming to us and we're going to need to support you. And the thing about good coaching and having good people around you as an athlete is that the good coaches will accept you for who you are and help you get to where you want to go despite those challenges, right? They're not going to just look at you like, well, yeah, we're not going to deal with all the rest of that stuff, but how's our things going in the gym, right? They're going to actually allow you to work through all the rest of those challenges if that's a good coach and if that's a good person. I think you were really looking for that when you came here because of your experience from back home, right?
Exactly. And throughout the first couple weeks, couple months, the coaches would because they were aware of my history and background, they were asking all the questions. And I felt comfortable enough to tell them when I was not doing well either. Like there was a time I remember I called Heather crying. It was like a couple of weeks in. I was like, I can't go to practice today. I can't do it. Like mentally, I was just like, I can't. Like I was so overwhelmed, and we can touch on the different things transitioning into college. And I told her, and she's like, okay, how about you come in? We'll see how it goes. You can start with warm up, and then if you need to sit out, that's okay. And just kind of pushing myself out of my comfort zone as well to accept that good coaching and that care that I wasn't necessarily used to.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a transition of starting to let my guard down, them starting to let their guard down. I start trusting them, they start trusting me.
Right.
And having those important conversations was the foundation of that.
Wow. And it's important, you all, because trust is really at the center of that ability for someone to allow you to coach them, right? It's about trust, because you need to know that they care about you more than just an athlete, that they care about you as a person. And that if you truly are struggling and you're dealing with these issues, that they're going to help you work through that for the sake of working through it and being able to accomplish your own personal goals as opposed to just the team, right? Now, as you recognize as a coach, of course, they have to think of all of it, right? So there's how you fit into the grand scheme. Like if we allow this person to not show up, somebody else is going to say, hey, I don't want to show up, right? So there's all these different pieces. And honestly, you all as an administrator, those are the types of challenges that I have to help our coaches work through too. It's just, what does it mean if a student athlete says, hey, I cannot make it to practice at all, and then doesn't show up, right?
Yeah.
And, for me, when I first started working in the industry, I was thinking, well, if that student athlete really can't show up to practice, then, then they can't show up to practice. But what the coaches told me was that, well, if they don't show up to practice, then everybody else is going to be looking at them and saying, well, why didn't they have to show up to right? And we all have our personal challenges, but also maintaining a certain sense of, I don't want to call it control, but just culture, a culture of we'll still try. And if you still can't do it, then we'll allow you to step back, right? Is an important piece. And so, but you get here to Nebraska. What is different about NCAA gymnastics comparative to elite gymnastics? And you coming here, new culture, new level of gymnastics, new team, new country. Tell us about that transition for you.
Everything was so new. And because COVID was still a thing, I wasn't able to visit Nebraska beforehand. Heather gave me FaceTime tours of campus and different things.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. I didn't know much about NCAA at all.
Okay.
I didn't know, I've never watched.
How did they find you, by the way? How did they find you?
So Heather was actually at a competition in Canada recruiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
Okay.
able to talk to her at the time because of my age, like those rules.
Mhm.
And then COVID hit, and then she wasn't able to come back again. So, like, she watched one of my meets and then talked to my coach. And then at the time, I was like, no, I don't want to do NCAA. And then once COVID hit, I was like, you know what? I actually kind of do.
Okay.
When I had the time to reflect. And then because I knew she had interest, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I didn't really look at other schools. I didn't know how that process worked at all.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, yeah, Nebraska said they were interested. I'll reach out to them again. And then that's kind of how it went.
Wow.
Like, it wasn't typical at all.
I
And
see.
so, yeah, I committed after kind of getting a FaceTime tour. And I was like, okay, yeah, this seems cool.
That was a thing back then, you guys. Like, coaches would walk around, and I think they had just opened the new gym. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're looking at this awesome gym. Is the gym here better than your gym back home at all?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is like top notch.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. That-
it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so then I ended up moving to Nebraska, my first time ever being in Nebraska. My mom and my youngest sister drove with me.
Wow.
And dropped
How
me
long
off.
was that trip, by the way, from Lincoln to Cambridge?
So we split it up into 2 days.
Okay.
If I do it straight, I did it straight this summer. It was about 17 hours.
Wow.
Um,
You're also a marathon driver.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, my thing was, I was like, I didn't want to wake up. Like, my parents, everyone's like, just stop. But I was like, I didn't want to wake up the next day and have to keep going.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? Like, I'll drink the energy drinks. I'm gonna make this work. So
So you drove straight through 17 hours.
Yeah,
Wow. So that's
yeah.
how long? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Without like the stops and stuff, I think it's like 15. But
Okay.
like the stops and the snacks and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 17. But yeah, they dropped me off and then they left. And I was like, all right, I'm just here in Nebraska now.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know anybody. I knew the coaches. They were probably the only people that I really knew.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why my relationship with them started off really strong because I mean, they were like, I would talk to them like a lot
Yeah.
because I didn't really know my teammates. I didn't get to see them in advance, like all that stuff.
Mhm.
So eventually I started to talk to my roommates, the same girls in my class, and we got pretty close.
Yeah.
But at first it was definitely challenging. Like we said, I've traveled a lot, but I haven't moved to a different country by myself.
Yeah.
And I was very close with my sisters and my family, especially because during COVID, we were together 24/7 because we couldn't leave.
Yeah.
So going from being with them the longest and most I've ever been with them to like completely moving to a different country was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of FaceTime calls and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was crazy. And then school was in English for the first time.
Mhm.
And I started off as a nutrition and exercise health science major. So
Okay. So you're taking the science classes.
science classes in English. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa. Like I knew it. Like I knew some of the words, but like my brain was like thinking of the explanation in French and then I had to write it in English. And I was like, whoa, I really didn't think this was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Same thing with like math and stuff. I was like,
Wow.
it's the same thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
So that was an adjustment. Writing essays in English. I've never written like a real English essay before. So I had to use the writing center.
Wow.
Basically that first little bit was taking advantage of all the resources provided for me
Yeah.
and the tutors, the writing center,
Mhm.
all the academic stuff, and then the stuff in the gym, the nutrition staff, the mental health, the coaches,
Yeah.
my teammates,
Yeah.
just like really being open to help
Yeah.
and putting myself out there, which is something that I wasn't necessarily confident doing, but
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't really have a choice at that point.
Gotcha. So you're using all the resources and
Mhm.
and just for folks who may not necessarily be aware of it, and I'm going to test my knowledge here a little bit, but in the collegiate side of things, it's 6 up, 5 count. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that first year, are you competing your freshman year that you're here in gym, and where you at essentially in the lineup when it comes to are you doing the all around? Are you just on specific different events, or how does that end up happening?
Yeah, I competed all around at every meet my freshman year.
Your freshman year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
This is a
crazy.
big deal, you guys. By the way, this is a big deal to compete all around your freshman year in college. And so
Yeah.
just so you know, but okay, so you're
Yeah, it was crazy.
wow.
And it's funny because I never watched an NCAA meet, never
Uh-huh.
competed in one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the order was different when you're away.
Mhm.
And our first meet was an away meet. And I was I started off on, we started on bars. And then in like the order of it, like at a home meet is vault, bars, beam, floor.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, we just finished bars. I'm going beam. And then I go to Heather and everyone's going to vault. And I'm like, what event are we on? She's like, vault. And I was first up on vault and I'm getting ready for beam. And I'm just like, what? And she's
Oh
like,
my
go
gosh.
to vault. I was
Wow.
like, what? So it was a lot of adjusting, a
Yeah.
lot of getting used to the team culture. I had a team, but like not
Right.
really.
Mhm.
My teammates in club and elite were like my biggest competitors
Ah,
fighting for that Olympic spot. You know?
gotcha. Yes, yes,
So we
yes.
were friendly, but it wasn't necessarily the same or near the same as it is on the Nebraska team.
Gotcha.
So that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Like having to celebrate, not having to, but getting to celebrate after routines. In elite gymnastics, you don't even really smile. Like you have to pretend that like, yep, that's what I meant to do. And you kind of just walk away. Like it's changed quite a bit over the years, but there
Yeah.
was a time where people didn't really smile at all. There
I
were no
see.
celebrations.
I
Like
see. Okay.
it was always like, oh, I could have done this better. Or like if you do like the best routine, you like you salute and you walk away like, yep, that's what I meant to do.
Gotcha.
But now I had to finish my routine and just like go crazy. And I was so not used to that. And the coaches are like, yeah, like jump and cheer.
Yeah,
And
like,
I'm like,
be
"Well,
excited about
like,
it. You know,
what?
you did a great job, right? And then here you have, and this is one of the great memories that I have you all of being a part of, the gymnastics program here. It's just, student athlete running down the vault runway, doing a wonderful vault, and then everybody just
Yeah.
running down there and the high fives and everything. And it's just such great energy. And you're kind of like, okay.
I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was just so different for me.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
I was going to say, because
Yeah.
there's this support,
Mhm.
there's this kind of, expectation, but you're able to fulfill the expectation of your team. You're doing well, right?
Mhm.
So tell us about that first year overall. How did things go for you in general as a freshman here?
I'd say it was pretty good. There's not really many things I would change. I was learning a lot.
Yeah.
And like even for example, competing on beam, the whole team was cheering for me throughout the whole routine. So it didn't feel like it was just me up there anymore.
Yes.
And it was getting used to that. Like this whole team like genuinely wants me to succeed. And that was not something that I was necessarily used to.
Mm-hmm.
But then there did come the side of like, well, I don't want to let them down. So
That's
there was
right.
like that internal side of it.
Yes.
But overall it was great. And we didn't make it that far. We were done after Big Tens. We didn't even qualify to regionals that year, but I mean, I didn't really know how the system worked at all anyway. So I was like, okay, cool, we're done. Like that was a great first season.
Yeah.
And then obviously like during the summer, the coaches are like, all right, we want to qualify to nationals. We want to do better.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it was a good first year. I was the start off lead off on like 3 out of the 4 events.
Wow. And
Like,
so
I
more
had
to
a pretty
come.
big role.
More to come on that after this, you all. I mean, Emma's talking to us about her freshman year, the transition from Canada to the United States, elite gymnastics to NCAA. Just telling us all about her journey. It's been great to hear so far. You're listening to The Law of Lift on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back after this.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schwezo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schwezo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been an trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rolloffs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What's up, Lincoln? You're listening to the Law of Lift. We are just hearing a lot of really great, a great story about Emma Spence's journey from Cambridge to Lincoln, and going from elite gymnastics to NCAA Division I. Competing here for the Huskers. And, you know, honestly, as I was doing some research on her and just seeing just how many titles she won during her time, it's pretty amazing when you consider how many meets there are and how many opportunities you have to compete. But, you know, she was just recently talking about that freshman year. And again, as we kind of talk about the transition, all the different things that she was dealing with, not only academically, but also, you know, she's been humble enough to talk to us about some of those challenges she had psychologically making the transition into college and having to deal with just, you know, some of the residual of what was happening back home prior to coming here with some coaching stuff and the toxic side of gymnastics. And one thing I want to just take this moment to do, you all, is to encourage you as you are supporting young people through the sport. If they talk to you about some of these things, make sure you get them the support that they need. Make sure that you help them. It sounds like that's very fortunately one of the things that Emma had over the course of her journey is, first and foremost, a family who cared enough about her that they listened and that they got her support. And then that translated into making sure that, she attended a place with coaches that cared as well and paid attention to those things as a part of her journey. And oftentimes in elite athletics, it's not necessarily seen as a strength to talk about some of those things because people are trying to protect and trying to advance their objectives and not caring so much about the human component of the sport. And so Emma's been kind enough to talk to us about her journey in that regard. And, it's just, again, as I have pieced things together to try to figure out how it was that she came here and competed at such a high level so consistently, did all the things that she did, not only in the classroom, but also in the gym and in the community, having that support system and really, as she explained it, kind of falling out of love with the sport as she came out of, the elite side into college, but then falling back in love with the sport. And so, talk to us about getting here to school. Again, it sounds like at first you would kind of turn the page on the elite side and competing for your country, but then you decide, I'm going to do both, right? I'm going to do the collegiate thing and I'm going to compete for my country. So tell us about how you get back to that point.
Yeah, basically, I was at a point where when I came into college here, I was like, yeah, I'm done competing for Canada. Like, usually when people go through like an Olympic cycle, they retire. But I was like, no, I'm just going to focus on competing for Nebraska, enjoying what I'm doing, all that. And by the end of my freshman year, I really just fell in love with the sport again. I was happy doing gymnastics. I was healthy. I was in a good headspace. And I was like, you know what? I want to see what happens if I try this in the state that I'm in now. And I thought I'm just going to do Canadian championships and be done, just so that I can prove to myself that I didn't need to go through the things that I went through to be a successful gymnast.
I see.
And that is what I want to prove to myself. And that was it. I didn't really care how I did. I just wanted to kind of prove that to myself. And Heather and Brian came to Canadian championships with me in Canada.
Wow.
And they were my support system there. And I ended up having a really great competition, like one of the best ones I've ever had.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I can train in a good environment. I can properly fuel myself, take care of my mental health, all these things. And it actually works. And it actually paid off. And I was like, you know what? I want to see how much further I can go. And I qualified to the Commonwealth Games in 2022, about a month or two after that competition. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. But at the same time, I was also like, okay, this might be my last international competition. Kind of same thing. End on a good note internationally.
Right.
And best competition there. Like, I just kept improving.
Yeah.
That one was the best international competition to this day. Like, that's when I really
Commonwealth Games 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
That was my best international competition. I won so many different medals that I wasn't expecting. I was just so happy competing. And that was something that everyone noticed. People in the media were like, she's smiling, she's enjoying herself. Like, we're not used to seeing this. And even the commentators were like, she just looks like she's enjoying herself. She's celebrating. She looks happy. And that's not something that was common in elite gymnastics at the time.
I see.
And that was something that I thought I needed to bring, because I was like, this is how I was able to get to where I'm at now. And I'm not just going to go back and pretend that, like, just go back to what I was doing before, because I didn't think that was beneficial. So I intentionally kept that NCAA mentality in the elite side of things. And it really, really worked for me.
That's awesome.
After that, I was like, yeah, okay, this is something that I want to do. And that's when I decided to fully commit to competing for Canada. I ended up trying for the world championships in the fall. Like, I was like, this is something that I want to do. I ended up getting mono and strep throat like the couple days before world trials.
Oh my goodness.
Which is crazy. So the doctor was like, you're not allowed to get on an airplane. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
goodness.
Okay. So I had to skip on the world trials. And then I ended up petitioning, because I was like, I had a really great season so far. They put me in as an alternate, the non-traveling alternate. All of a sudden, so when you have mono, you can't do much for a while. I wasn't able to train for like 2-3 weeks because they were very cautious of it, of me. And all of a sudden, Gymnastics Canada calls and says someone got hurt and I'm going. And I was like, okay.
And this is to Worlds.
This is World Championships.
Wow.
And I've never been to a World Championships.
Okay.
And I didn't tell them I took 3 weeks off. I was like, yeah, I'll be ready.
I'm
Let's
good.
do it. So then I had about a week and a half, 2 weeks to prepare, get my
Wow.
routines together. And then I was off to England. And that was crazy. And the coaches here were like, we're all just like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to do it. I didn't have a coach. I ended up calling like one of my old coaches from Canada. He ended up going with me.
Mhm.
Haven't seen him in like years. And he just like, I was like, I need a coach. Can you come? And he's like, yeah. And that was a crazy experience. Team Canada ended up making history again, and I was part of that, and it was super special.
Yeah.
First world championship medal for Canada in a team competition.
Wow.
So that was huge. We qualified the team to the Olympics 2 years in advance.
Wow. Goodness.
It was a whole thing.
That's
That
amazing.
It was very, very special. And then once I was part of that team, I was like, I was on the team that qualified Canada to the Olympics. Might as well go all in to try and go to the Olympics as well.
I see. So that then starts this cycle of trying to do all the stuff so that you qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And at the same time, you know, she's competing as an NCAA Division I
Yes.
student athlete here. This would have been your junior year then?
Yeah,
Or
going into my
going
junior
into
year.
your junior year. And so again, her responsibilities on the team had increased. Classroom stuff is getting tougher,
Mhm.
right? And you're just having to balance all of this. And so how did you do that? I mean, how do you balance all that while preparing for the Olympics?
It was hard, and I had to be very open with the coaches once again about where my body was at, like
Mhm.
my ankles and stuff. I remember there were some meets going into like that Olympic trials, like that season, that I was like, my ankles, like I can't run. They're like, okay, well, if you want to make it all the way to Olympic trials and Olympics, like we're gonna have to take this week off of this and stuff like that, and having to make those changes so that I was able to be at my best when I needed to be.
Yeah.
And also like that balance of prioritizing the elite competitions or the NCAA competitions. Obviously,
Right.
I didn't want to skip any of the NCAA ones, and I think I only did like one of them where I didn't do all around.
Yeah.
But that was definitely interesting because I
Mhm.
didn't really want to sacrifice either one. I wanted to
Right.
be able to do both.
Yes.
But in some situations, the coaches made the call. They're like, yeah, no.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting. And then the school was just leaning on the resources and focusing and proper time management,
Mhm.
which I had to get good at.
Yeah. So as you think about just balancing all of those things, can you talk to us about when was that time where you, because I can remember specifically that, you know, just kind of hearing in the background as an administrator that you were actually starting to do more speaking out about some of the challenges that you experienced and being an advocate
Mhm.
for women and people in gymnastics in general in the sport. Can you talk to us about when you transitioned into becoming an advocate? Because it sounds like you had so much on your plate, but that advocacy piece started to grow and you started to become an advocate. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it started off actually with the FIG Safeguarding Working Group, which FIG is like the international governing body of gymnastics. So
Mhm.
like worldwide, I was on the committee. I was the only North American ambassador. They were like athlete or gymnasts from like there was like one or two from each continent.
Mhm.
And I was on that group. We worked on putting together new rules for the sport, different like all the documents and like just like rewording things in a way to make it more, I guess, a safer environment for athletes. And then I ended up doing a speaking engagement at that World Championships
Wow.
in England. Originally, because I wasn't supposed to go for competition, they were sending me out anyways to speak.
Wow.
And then I ended up being able to do both.
You competed and spoke there. Wow.
I spoke in the morning, and then we competed and made history in the afternoon.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was crazy.
That's awesome. That's
Um,
awesome.
That was a really crazy experience. And then I ended up being, and I currently still am the athlete representative for Gymnastics Canada. So
Mhm.
now that once I retired last summer after the Olympic stuff went down, I became their athlete rep. So I sit in on all the meetings, making decisions, just making sure that the athlete's best interest is in the conversation and reminding them if it's not necessarily, or like just giving my opinion on it. And
Mhm.
I was fortunate to go to the Canadian Championships earlier this year.
Mhm.
They flew me out. I was helping take videos, helping take pictures of the girls, and
Yeah.
just like being mental support for them, like walking around. Is there anything you need? You need any mats moved? Like whatever it was. Like I
Yeah.
was on the floor with them. Like
Oh,
as the
wow.
representative.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and as I think about that, you know, I think about this evolution for you of, you know, I think back to you being very young in the sport and just kind of like really learning all about it, falling in love with the sport, going through all these challenges of, you know, kind of finding this balance, or there was really a lack of balance. It was pretty much all gymnastics and not much of other things, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes to be elite. And then you get to that elite point. You're really at this high point in your career, but at the same time, you're at a high point in your career, but at the same time, you're at the this challenging point in your love of the sport
Mhm.
because you've pushed yourself so hard and you've had some, negative interactions in the space and some things that have happened as a result of being in that environment that have caused challenge. And so you come here, you fall back in love with it, you're working hard, you decide to get back onto that elite national stage and kind of have this real inflection point that happens where you speak, you become an advocate, you're talking about, the challenges and how to overcome those things, and you're just raising awareness, and then you compete, and Team Canada makes history again. And so it's just neat to hear about that journey. And what I know from what I was seeing on this side is honestly, I could not tell from the outside looking in of all those challenges that you were having because you were still competing at such a high level all the time. And so, the balance that you created and just the ability that you had to still be elite while dealing with those challenges and all the rest of the stuff that you were dealing with, which, by the way, a lot of other gymnasts in the conference and everything, they're not doing this elite gymnastics thing. They're not having to deal with all that stuff. They're just doing the gym, which is a lot anyway.
Yeah.
The gym every single, day or however many hours a week, and all the stuff that goes into keeping your body healthy and your mind healthy and everything else. But you took on these additional challenges. How did that prepare you for the rest of life as far as just kind of, if you think about the intersection of all these things coming together, how does this prepare you for the rest of your life going forward? And, you think about it, you continue to be an advocate. You're the player, the athlete rep in the Canadian gymnastics now. So you have an opportunity to consistently advocate, but how does this prepare you for the rest of life?
Oh man, that's a big question. I feel like honestly, it makes me a lot more aware in a lot of different situations, and it makes me like mindful and just consider how other people may be feeling in certain situations, but then also the ability to stand up for myself when I need to. I feel like I didn't necessarily have that for a while, and over the last few years that's really grown and like developed, and I think that's something that was really important for me to understand. But then also just like finding that balance of like understanding like where are they coming from, like why is this person doing this, and just like seeing things from different perspectives. And I think I'm able to use that in different interactions with different people, even when it comes to, as an athlete rep, how do I engage and interact with the athletes? And then also, how do I bring that information to the coaches in a way that isn't going to be like insulting to them, and they're not going to take it the wrong way, but they're going to be able to absorb that information and apply it in a way that is beneficial to their athletes.
Wow.
So it's really interesting. And I think my communication major comes in that, because it really taught me about the different types of relationships and how to communicate in different relationships and like, adapt based on different people's needs and communication styles.
That's excellent. And as I heard you talk about all the things that you have to do, kind of made me think that you might make a good counselor. As I think about all those things, as I think about you having to work with people through challenges, understand the context of all the things that are happening in their life from a cultural perspective, from all these different pieces that fit into who a person is. And then you help and you support that person to find what they need, right? And that's essentially what a counselor does. And so tell folks about what you're getting your master's in right now, and how that really kind of, also aligns with some of the things that you've gone through.
Yeah. So I started my master's in counseling about 2 weeks ago now. And I think a lot of it just came from that experience and those experiences that I had even from a young age growing up working with counselors. Even when I was like 11 years old, the club hired a sports psychologist to work with like our teams and stuff. So just being around that space so much growing up, and then understanding and seeing the way that it's impacted me, but other people as well, but especially like the growth in the way that it's helped me when I was going through hard times and then coming out on the other side stronger. I would love to be a part of that process for other people that are kind of going through the same thing, and then just allowing them to and giving them the space to believe that they can get over it as well. Because from my own experience, I realized that it was possible. And at first, going into that therapy stuff that I had to go through, I didn't know that was necessarily a thing.
And we'll hear more about it. We're going to close this out. Emma has talked to us about her journey, her evolution. You're listening to The Law of Lift on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back to finish this up after this.
Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, that's right. We're back. it's the Law of Lift. You've heard the amazing story, just a little bit of it. We've just given you a bit of a taste of the story of Emma Spence, elite gymnast, just all around great person, has done a lot in the community, continues to be an advocate for the sport, and, you know, a really amazing representative of her country, of the University of Nebraska, her family, so many different things that she's been able to accomplish. And she still wants more. So she's still out there. She's taken on things on a professional level now, working here, and also continuing her schooling. And so, looking at getting into counseling and everything. But Emma, as we kind of close things up, who are some people that you want to give a shout out to, just to kind of put on the record, some people who have really been supportive over the course of your journey, that you want to send a shout out to?
Okay. The biggest thing would probably be my family, my immediate family, but also like extended family, everyone that's kind of been there throughout the journey and seen the ups and the downs and have supported me through it. And then I would go to the coaches here, the coaching staff, but then also everyone else around the coaching staff that has helped us. There's sports psych, there's the nutritionist. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I have if it weren't for them. The academic side of things as well. You and Katie, I feel like that's something that's been really helpful, just having you two in my life to kind of give your perspectives and stuff to help me navigate some of the hard times that I was going through. Oh man, I know there's so many people. I didn't have the time to prepare this.
Yeah, no.
But that's what I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, and your teammates, I'm sure,
the
right?
Teammates, and there's some people at Gymnastics Canada that also helped me with that side of things. Definitely teammates. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I know, as you think back to just kind of all the people that you've, competed with and been a part of those teams and everything, that's one of the things that I saw from you all, is just the growth of your friendship and your bond that you all had as a team, going through all the difficult things. I can always remember right around this time, and then kind of getting into like the conditioning that happens prior to the season, just how there'd be some really tough practices and you all would help each other pull through, and kind of the retreats at the beginning of the year and stuff that, trying to build a culture on the team. And so, all those intentional things that happen to try to pull people together.
Yeah.
But so talk to us about, as far as, when you think about, for you, what exactly is going to continue to bring you joy and happiness in your life, and whether it be connected to the sport or not, like, what are some of those things as you look forward?
Yeah, I think like right now, I love how my job is allowing me to connect with local businesses.
Okay.
I feel like the community here in Nebraska is really what allowed my team and just the athletic department to thrive the way that it does.
Yes.
So from being on the athlete side of it and receiving that support from the community, now being able to go out there from like my job side of things and try and support the community is something that's really special to me. And then also from the counseling side of things, and I'm still the athlete rep at Gymnastics Canada. I'm actually going to an event in 2-3 weeks in Canada.
Oh, wow.
As a rep.
Excellent.
So to work with all different reps from different sports in Canada, like go to some events like that. And it's going to be really cool for a couple of days, and just continue and like keep that connection with the sports world, but also kind of develop and like learn from other people as I'm transitioning into like the real world as well.
Yeah. Surprised, but you've been a part of the real world since the beginning.
Yes.
But I understand where you're coming from. But here's the deal, and these are some of the kind of similarities that I see in your story. You always want to figure out where your space is in a place, and then you dig in and you start to really commit yourself with where your work ethic and all the rest of the things that you do to be successful. And I think that it's going to be no different in your professional life. And as you continue to like really define this idea of becoming a counselor, staying in the advocacy space, and whatever you do for gainful employment, whether it be, shopping professionally and filling baskets, right? Which, fun fact, that was like, actually my first job was being a bagger at a grocery store. So we share that in common. It's kind of a unique space, right? Like being the grocery store is a unique space, but just thank you so much for being here today and being willing to share so openly about some of the challenges that you experienced along the way. Because again, it is not easy to deal with some of those things and really feel like you lose your zest for what you're really having to focus on all this time and this effort. And it sounds like, some of the lessons that I'll take away from this are just the importance of, regardless of how elite you are, being willing to open up and say, hey, I need support, right? Because when you have that support, that's how you can really maintain and be very good, even though you're dealing with some of those challenges. And that's one thing that I really want folks to take away from this for their athletes in their life and whether they're athletes is just sometimes it's just better if you ask for the help that you need and then you can get it and then you can really excel. And so, you know, the next, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this, but the kind of culmination of your elite career would have been being a part of the Olympic team for 2024.
Yes. Also as an alternate, but yes, still named to the team.
Yeah, which is amazing.
I
You know,
know.
I mean, there's so many people that never get to, right? So,
Yeah.
but again, had that Olympic opportunity, and then you decided that you were going to retire from elite gymnastics and then retire overall.
Yep.
And you know, now again, you're focused on that next step of your life, which is just, you know, continuing to, you know, make a difference in people's lives, whether it be through digital marketing, right?
Yep.
Or whether it be through advocacy and counseling and the different things that you have going on. And you still have your show, right, on
Yep.
here. And so go ahead and plug your show so people know about it.
Yep. Thursday nights, 6 to 7 p.m. Beyond the Routine with Spence.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I've heard you interview a number of people on that show, and it's really enjoyable just to kind of see you utilizing some of those skills that are going to come in handy when you're a counselor, right?
Yes,
Talking
yes,
to
for
people.
sure.
And I mean, if that's something you really enjoy doing, that's definitely something you can continue to do. But, you know, it's just been absolutely amazing to have you on the show. It was great to be on your show earlier this week. And folks, you know, it's just, it's not necessarily the places, it's the people. And, you know, when you get the opportunity to work with elite student athletes like Emma Spence and some of the other folks that I've had the opportunity to really speak with you all about, you really get to see the diversity of how many things these folks have going on in their lives and how they can really excel and then even find time to give back. And that's what I'll take away from this story is you put the time in and then you also have still taken the time to give back into the sport. And so thank you so much for being on the show today. Folks, as I always say on my show, I hope you lift off. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the story of Emma Spence today. You've been listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket, and I hope I see you back next weekend.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discount